Anyways, Cloud Kingdom. This was a map that was very recently actually repopularized by Red Bull, which I thought was really cool. We had it in a show match not too long ago, and well, there's no Protoss here, so no one's gonna have any complaints about this map. Protoss Kingdom was the nickname for a long time for good reason. Anyways, we continue on to the grand finals. Again, $833 for first place, $450 for second. I want to remind you guys, that's a lot of money for one best of 7. But down here in the lower left, now the map of the overlay, the score will be displayed. So keep an eye on that. If you got to like AFK, go use the bathroom, grab a snack, and you come back and the game's over, you're curious who won, that's where you'll be able to see down here. But in the actual lower left corner of the map, it's going to be the Red Zerg player from Team Liquid. Give it up for Snute.
And up right as the blue Zerg player, it is Targa.
Targa is really good at making good or bad situations into good situations, I think is a good way to describe that. Like he's been, I don't know, I want to say almost I'm trying not to sound negative, so please don't take this in context, anyone listening, but like he's kind of outclassed when it comes to Snute's initial holds. But like I feel like a lot of what happens is Snute runs out of like information. Like he doesn't scout a lot. He doesn't see he doesn't see 40 roaches bulked up inside the natural. Like he doesn't see layer timings, and a lot of that costs him. So like early on, when you know what's coming, when you know like there's a time frame of like 6 to 8 minutes where it's only Zerglings and nothing else, Snute is like untouchable. But after that, it's like I don't know, like a chink in his armor develops.
You know, he really doesn't seem to play for, I don't want to say the mid game because it's like the early mid game, I guess. Like that time right after Baneling Ling, but before maxed out roaches seems to be where Snute like doesn't really want to play. Actually, not even that he's like especially bad at it. He just doesn't want to. He wants to get to a point where he has 200 and he's maxed out and comfortable in a macro game. Anything beyond that or before that is not his forte, I suppose, unless it's playing Baneling. But
yeah, I guess, yeah, you shoot for the early or the late, but not really the mid. I can see that too, because that's quite frankly how a lot of ZVZs play out, right? I mean, how many times have you been, like, and let's be honest, guys, there's been that match for everybody at some point where you're bored waiting for people to attack on 200, I mean.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, a lot of Zerg, I mean, there are a lot of Zerg games where literally, like, yeah, they'll poke and prod for, like, the, you know, in between, you know, not max and max, but they really don't want to end the game. So, you know, you're waiting pretty much until the max, right? So, you know, trying to get there like as fast as possible and as, you know, best as possible is not necessarily a bad thing, but it can leave you open to all-ins like what Targa just did. Well, I wasn't really an all-in. It was, I just had more roaches than you, but...
You know, what I'm really shocked about, actually, I'm just thinking about this. Snute is kind of that guy who's been really close to the Koreans. He's been to Korea several times himself. And I'm pretty sure, if I had to guess, he's very up-to-date on the metagames around all regions. I don't know a lot about Targa in that regard, like what his training regiment is or what his like history as far as travel goes, but I kind of like, I would really like to see Snute embrace that more Korean-style ZVZ where he goes for like bro tech and gets the tunneling claws and does like little hit run-by squads, like Jig, a North American player, Minato, a European player. Like these are guys who also embrace that style and get a lot of good results out of it.
It is interesting that Snute does play the style that he does, yet he is training, or did train, in Korea under a Kespa team, too, which is like...
Yeah, he plays like a very foreigner style of Zerg.
Yeah, for, I mean, he has a Korean practice schedule, but with a European style.
You know, totally...
Sums him up.
Totally unrelated to like this theory crafting we're doing right now, guys. I want to give a small nod. If you haven't actually seen him, Snute he's not streaming so much right now, but he was streaming pretty consistently for the last few weeks, like every day, at least a couple hours. And he doesn't do a lot of commentary while he plays, but he's always very interactive with his chat, which I find fantastic. And you know, just a small thing worth checking him out, guys, because maybe a lot of you don't realize that he actually does stream in a decent amount too.
Mm-hmm. A lot of Liquid guys actually are streaming. Liquid and Root, pretty much, you know, every single night taking up that
yeah, the Team Liquid sidebar. Yeah, Jinx. You know, the other thing too is the whole reason I bring this up, so it's not completely just like cool story, bro. Is like he's like in a house, he's with other people training. Like you'll see people in the background playing like DayZ or League of Legends sometimes, but I mean, like it's a lot easier to focus on training when you've got other people to motivate you, rather than just sitting in your room, right?
Well, this game actually not much has been happening, honestly. Actually, we have Snute getting very late Ling upgrades, so his Mega Boost is pretty late. His Baneling Nest was actually earlier than Targa's, but both weren't very scared and they didn't want to apply pressure, so they're kind of just getting it to have it almost. Targa did try and fake a lair though when Snute's Ling got in there. I'm not sure. Did he see it?
Oh, I didn't catch that, did he?
He did see the lair, so he thinks maybe really fast Mutalisk. But that's actually not going to be the case. It's going to be a Roach Warren.
That's so cheeky. I like that a lot. But that might have actually provoked a response that perhaps Targa didn't want, where Snute is moving out with a lot of units right now, saying, I'm going to hit you before that potential Mutalisk layer is out. But Targa with some Roaches, it's not a lot. But again, if these Lings can get us around, they can easily take on this small squad of Roaches.
What he's hoping for is that Snute's going to be like, oh, well, you're not going to attack, and even when you attack, it's going to be a few Mutalos. You know, his protocol is going to take care of that. But I don't think Snute's actually falling for it. I mean, he saw the Roaches just now, so... Okay, now the jig is pretty much up when you see the Roaches. He's not going to go for a Spire or anything like that.
No, he's putting out a lot of Spine Cars defensively back at home, so
yeah,
he'll
knows.
Be ready for this. I like what he's done though with these Lings, though. Rather than try and fight like defensively with them, he's going full offense, hoping to catch Targa's mineral lines unguarded. But reinforcements just in the nick of time. Lings give chase to Lings, and now we got some Roaches and a couple Banelings heading here towards the natural base. There's not a lot of energy for transfuses, which is a really scary thing to consider. And,
this might still be enough, especially with the Lings coming back. No, the Lings are actually coming back. Never mind.
Gets a pretty nice connection there. 4 drones do go down with a couple of Banelings, but Spine Cars falling here as well. Roaches of Snute pop out just in the nick of time, and with unfortunately another Queen going down, that's gonna hurt. That's gonna sting, but he should be still in this game, which is really, let's be honest, the key thing.
Yeah. And he has that third up a lot faster. I mean, Targa, that was quite a commitment. No upgrades or anything. Not even a lair. He just starts his lair, actually. Realizing this actually isn't going to do that much damage. What he did was take down 2 Spine Crawlers, 2 Queens, and forced out, you know, Snute's army. That was it, though.
Targa knows about the third, too, and there we go. Lings are going to wrap around and try and get on top of this. Again, Roaches do have to be a little bit careful. It's not exactly an overwhelming amount of Lings, but you never want to accidentally segment too few Roaches off and lose them all.
Yeah. Surprised that he didn't try and do more damage to that hatch, simply because Roaches do take a long time to kill Banelings, especially when they're surrounded around a hatch. But decides to save him for a later date, and of course Snute is not going to have... Well, he doesn't have any Banelings, actually, not even any more Lings, so his defensive Banelings are going to be there.
He's got some Lings hiding up towards the north. I think he wants to try
that's right, they're still there.
No, you're right. Back at home, where it counts, there's no Lings, there's no Banelings. It's going to be... not exactly fun to deal with, but I guess, you know, with Roaches, I like that he split them up so they're, like, putting that wall off on the top of the ramp. He's got those 2 Spine Crawlers. Harass isn't going to face Snute. Only a real big attack will.
Has he scouted the third? He should really send those Lings into the third. I mean, he should have sent them in to begin with so they would snipe the drone.
At least one, yeah. Overlord being sacrificed here towards the main. Snute's unfortunately going to lose this. We'll supply block him, actually. It's going to be a bit of a pain to deal with, but he's got 4 more Overlords on the way, so it's only temporary.
Snute did go for the double upgrades. I think he feels pretty good after that fight. I mean, that went pretty well for him. He lost structures and queens, but that actually wasn't too big of a deal. And I think he actually saw the third and how it's not up quite yet. So he's like, okay, I can definitely afford to actually get those double upgrades. Now, we've talked about it a lot in the past about how pretty much 1-1 versus 1-0 is not really the biggest deal in the world, but when it gets to 2-2 versus 2-0, that's when things really start to like spiral out of control, because that's usually also when they're actually maxed.
Overseer Scouts, everything here in the base of Snute. Not going to be the biggest deal in the world because it's kind of predictable stuff after seeing a lot of the Roaches being invested on early, but it's nice to confirm that there wasn't like a Spire transition, that there's not a quick Hive or Infestation pit on the way, so that Overseer even gets out alive really gets its money worth. And this is, again, something that Targa has been doing significantly better than Snute throughout this whole series. Not that that's kept Snute down, as we see, the series is tied up right now, it's 2-2. It's not like Snute's screwed because he doesn't scout, but I mean, even with those Lings that were kind of meandering around the third, as you pointed out, it's kind of like you should run these in more. You should get more information, better information.
Well, this is the time we were talking about where Snute maybe isn't quite as comfortable, but it's looking more like a typical ZVZ. Well, actually, Targa is sort of an infestation pit, but, you know, in the past, Snute's been like, you know, got that early third, and then he went straight for an infestation pit, or he went straight for, you know, Hydros. He didn't actually stay at 50-ish drones and max out on Roaches, which is what we're seeing a lot in ZVZ, especially actually Korean ZVZ. So this is a lot more expected. He's going to have those upgrades, and he's going to try and push out and do some damage. He's not quite max, but he's getting there.
Roaches on creep always kind of look like you got fast forward button on slightly. Like they move so erratically weird with speed upgrades. But This clash towards the third base, it is 51 roaches to 39, but this ramp is going to keep Snute from really getting to overuse his advantage here. But just going to press on forward into this. There's a lot of roaches. We'll just keep an eye on the numbers, guys. 35 to 43. Snute's just he's got the numbers. He's got the brute force. Can he get that surround he's trying to bully his way into and achieve?
He also has the upgrades going for him as it's 1-1 versus 1-0. Queen's trying to help out. Even some lings from Snute are going to try and soak up some damage. I don't think Snute should actually continue pushing in, but actually no, he's fine. He's completely fine. He's going to win out this battle and at least take down the third.
This is also like the one time Targa doesn't have like a wall of spine crawlers waiting for Snute. Like every game we've had so far, he's been ready for this. But with 33 roaches on the map to the 12 of Targa, even though Snutes are low, it's still not going to be enough. And as you said, even if Targa magically cleans this up, the third base is gone.
Yeah. You know, I can understand Targa not getting his spawn closed, even though he went for the faster infestation pit, because Snute really hasn't been aggressive. Like, even when he had that lead in the very first game, he wasn't necessarily aggressive. He waited till he was completely maxed out on Hydralisk and Infestors. So, the fact that, you know, Snute actually attacked him at that time, Targa was probably like, oh, crap. Like, all right, I didn't expect that.
Well, guys, that's going to be not the end of the series yet, but we're actually now one win away from victory, possibly. Snute, of course, leading 3-2 at the moment. We'll be going on to Daybreak next, another old school map, but you'll notice no commercials will be playing right now. Ooh, this is, of course, because we had that subscriber earlier today, so thank you very much. If you guys want to subscribe to the channel, there are actually a lot of benefits you get to subscribing to the channel. You know that, A, lot of the subscriber money goes into funding events, more show matches, bigger tournaments, and what have you in the future. You get replays from tournaments we cast. I could probably share the ones from today. I'm going to ask the admin to make sure it's cool, but chances are I'll send them out. I sent the Go for StarCraft ones out already from yesterday for those who missed them. You get to participate in upcoming sub-only events. So, like, for example, tomorrow we got the Rotterdam versus BaseTradeTV Sub Wars going on. Make sure you guys come hang out for that. It's not meant to be a big blowout event. There's no huge prize pool. The winner has the loser sub to him as the the prize. It's kind of like a bet more than anything else, but our subs will be playing for us in that. Rotterdam and I will be casting, but neither of us will be playing. I don't know, you support the channel, which is awesome. It means we get to keep coming back for more, and you'll get to see more base trade, hopefully, as the year goes on. And it was asked earlier today, so I'll address it real quick. First off, Snute taking a small break, guys. But the Zombie Rep Rifkin show match, and I'm using huge